Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on Eleanor's restoration. I've still got a few bits to tidy up inside for the rear wheel arch from the last video, but I decided to leave that until I could get better access in here. So the main purpose of this video is getting this panel off. So what have I got? I've got a half panel. So what made me choose that panel in particular? I'll bring you in closer and I'll show you. The worst part of this panel is the bottom lip that attaches to the boot floor and valves underneath. It's rotted away and somebody in the past has decided to make filler as the join. Really badly done, really bodged, so this is all the way along. Onto this side here. The rest of the panel is okay until you get to the part here. It's all worn away. That's obviously trapped water under the window rubber. So in terms of the top upper part, that's the only bit of damage here. The rest is all good. Why did I go for the half rear panel? Because the rear bottom repair was about £220 and the half panel was about 250, 260. It made no sense, the price of the bottom one compared to the price of the half one, so for a good peace of mind and an easier repair, because most of it's spot welds, I opted to go for the full half. It's all going to be heritage, I've said before, so I didn't want to go for repair panels. So yeah, in my head this was going to get cut off, cleaned up, dressed, and the new one welded on. Easy, right? Easy because it's held here in the jig and it's nice and easy to access. Well, when I thought about it, the old one I can cut, that's fine, doesn't need to come off neat. This one, however, doesn't go over because the jig is in the way. So to get the new one on, I need to take this rear part of the jig off, which means I need to find a way of supporting the shell. How am I getting this rear panel off? Well, the bottom edge along there isn't attached other than a couple of bolts to hold it in place. Told you previously I've got new rear quarter panels to go on, so I'll be cutting up this line here all the way to this line, and I'll be grinding this back to get a flat flush finish on the new panel. I'm only cutting up to this line and cutting all the way along at the moment to get access and to get the bulk of this off. The new half rear panel comes up to about here, so I can measure that better once all this is out of the way. Once all this is out, I can then look at spot welds, drilling them out all the way along here. The only thing then holding it in place, other than it not getting past the jig, will be there's a bracket under here which attaches from here onto the underside of the parcel shelf. So I'll put slits here and here to get that out. So that's what I'm going to do just now. Get handy with the angle grinder, get that cut out and lift it away. this part of the lip here, you can just see what's left of the back panel. I'm just going to grind up all the way up here. As you can still see, there's obviously lip there, and if I leave that lip, the new back panel won't fit flush. Now I don't care how it looks because it's all been replaced, but this all needs to be flat to get a better fit. Once I've done that on both sides, I can then come around here, drill out the spot welds, chisel out. Now this on the parcel shelf needs to be good because I'm keeping it, so I don't want to have to replace the parcel shelf, so I'm going to take my time on this, make sure I'm not causing any damage to the other side, and hopefully there's not any rust on the other side of that. I may need a repair depending on how far the rust has went through here, but I'll see once I've got it off. So you've seen spot welds being drilled out, you've seen cutting, grinding. I'm not going to show that on camera. I'm going to go off camera, do all what I've just said, and then I'll come back once I've got all that done. I'm further on now. Like I said, I was going to grind all this down, as with the other side. I've drilled out the spot welds. Quite pleased with this. I only managed to drill one hole through. I'm quite impressed with that. But under here, the parcel shelf is in really good condition. What I was worried about was this side, but you can see that's just about surface rust. It was actually the rear panel that was rusted through and not the parcel shelf. You'll get a better look at this once it's been cleaned. But yeah, I'm dead pleased with it. And down here. So next thing I'm going to do, again off camera, I'm going to clean all this down with a flap disc down to good metal, and I'm going to get this bracket removed. Cleaned up pretty well. Some bits are thinner than others. You can see slight holes there, slight damage here, a big one where I went through here which I'm going to try and weld up just now, and slight bits here. I'm going to give it a go. If it starts burning through metal, I'll need to rethink, because some of it is quite thin, some of it is quite solid. So I'm going to give this a go. Obviously got the copper behind it to try and stop it burning through any further, and see if I can tidy up these slight bits here. This, decided to keep the bracket on here. Now this can just be spot welded onto the new back, and this bit here I'm going to get some rust converter on and get it zinc primed. So filled in the holes with weld, and it's solid. There's this is covered, this is getting spot welded onto the rear panel. Before I do that, obviously I need to get the rest of this prepped. I need to get some rust treatment on it, and then I need to get some zinc primer on. Same video, but another day for me. I had to order a few bits and pieces I needed before I carried on. So I've done a few things since you last seen this, and I'll show you what it is. So I've basically taken the paint off the new panel here on the bottom, and on the underside and on the back side here I've given it a coat with zinc rich primer, so that when I get to offer it up to the car it's a lot easier. And I'm all about easiness, so while I've got access to here, I thought I would get some chalking done. The plan is, going forward, I am going to get some seam sealer and put it on factory style, but for the bits it's hard to reach and the bits that go in, there's no harm in putting this underneath. So I've done the chalking on this side and the same on the other side, and I'll just leave all that to dry. So my next challenge is to get this part off the jig here, get the car balanced while supporting the shell at the same time, because remember, a lot of this back end is held in clamps, new welds, not held at other bits, so I have to be very careful. So I'm going to plan, go and get this taken off so I can get this over here, and then I can look at obviously the top parts here, how much I need to trim off, get it clamped up, and then I can look at getting it back on. managed to get this supported enough to get the back end on, so as you can see it's now over here and in place. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to lift it up here, get it clamped in place so that I can mark this section and this section here, because I still need to cut this to fit these parts in here. That's clamped enough for my liking, purely to get this part here and the same on the other side, so I can get this marked up. I've just got a pencil for that, because this bit is the seamless bit that's going to get cut. So with that unclamped, see, this is the mark I have to cut to get the new panel flush, and it should be the same on the other side, which it is. So I'm going to get the angle grinder and cut very carefully just below the line on both sides, pick this away, and then I can look at offering this back up. That's me got to close as the line as I can without damaging any of the panels underneath. Quite pleased with it. On the other side. So now I just need to offer this up again, get it clamped and see how good a fit it is, and once I've done that I'll come back and show you. You can never have too many clamps. So took a bit of fettling, but I'm quite happy with all the lines. Still flexing more panels than what there is in others. The top bit here and along here I needed to get right, because that's where the window sits, and this is obviously on display, so nice line there to weld all the way along, and nice lines up here as well, and yeah, I'm happy with it. So what I'm going to do first of all is get welding. I'm going to weld along here and the other side, see how that goes, and then I can look at spot welding. So nice and solid. I need filler obviously because I don't want to sand too much down because it's going to lose its rounded profile then. So a bit of filler, sand it, and yeah, it'll be solid and perfect. I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to do the exact same to the other side. I'm going to put some filler on, let it set, get it sanded, and then we'll have a look and see what it's like once it's done. So I've got both sides welded up, slightly of filler just for aesthetics. I'm now working this back bit here. So what I've done is all the way up here I've just used some vice grips just to pull this tight, because remember this lip I had to peel off the last panel. So this is the bit I've done and this is the bit I haven't done. You can see the difference. So this bit I'm just going to take my time with, get it all like this. I'll get the clamp back on once I've got it to a good shape. Get it all clamped up, and then I'm going to go along the top all the way along and spot weld. Got this flattened out, got all the paint off the back, and now it's time to spot weld. It takes a lot of preparation to get to the spot weld stage, because if there's a gap, if there's paint, if there's any obstruction, the current won't go through and you'll not get a good weld. So it's the preparation that takes the time. The spot welding is the fun part. So I'm going to just work my way along, spot welder, and get this top window flange sealed. So there we go, probably more than I need, to be honest. It's supposed to be an inch and a half for a guide, but I've made it strong. There's a few holes, maybe 2 or 3 that I've burnt through purely because of the angle I had the spot welder. Like I said, it's heavy, but that's not a problem. I'll touch it in with the MIG welder. So I'm going to do the same again, but on the bottom this time. Boot floor, I'll put some more clamps on to keep it tight. Once I've done that, it's just a case of getting it all prepped with primer, etc. I'm replacing the rear quarters, as I've said before, so that flange will not be getting spot welded at the moment. That'll just be held in with clamps. So same again, cue the time lapse and let's get this bottom panel spot welded. So quite pleased the way the bottom one turned out. Because it's 2 new flanges, the boot and the bottom, there was no issue with any blown holes. So yeah, it came as a really good fit and I'm pleased with it. So I'm just going to get some of the top ones tidied up, then I'll get some acid etch primer on just to stop any surface shuts forming. So that's it finished. I'll take the camera around, give you a closer look, but yeah, really pleased the way it fitted, the way it went on, and the most exciting thing is all the new metal that's all now coming together, and soon there'll be more new metal than old metal, and the shell's progressing well. So I'll call that one a day there, and I'll move on to the underside, the rear valance, etc. in the next one. So thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!